23% said saying a Brit is okay if you don't know the UK country of origin. 8% said, personally, I identify as a haggis. Hey guys, I'm Eric.
And I'm Grace. We're the Wandering Ravens.
We're a couple of digital nomads who have been wandering around the world for over 3 years, and we make videos on this YouTube channel about British culture.
If that's a topic that interests you, make sure you subscribe to our channel and hit the little bell icon so that you can get notified every time we release a new video.
Today we are answering the question, should the term Brit be offensive? In our comment sections, we frequently hear people calling us out for using the term Brit in our video titles and in our videos, like when we talk about Brits and stuff like that. And that really confused us because we had never heard about this word being offensive. Very often when we use it in our thumbnails, it's simply because it's short and fits well on a thumbnail. But of course, we don't want to be offensive. It's not our intent at all. And so we decided to get to the bottom of the matter through a YouTube poll on our community page. And here are the results of that poll. 64% of the voters said that calling someone a Brit is always okay, no offense here. 23% said saying a Brit is okay if you don't know the UK country of origin. 8% said, personally, I identify as a haggis.
I would love to fall into that lot. If I was...
Do you identify as a haggis?
If I was to choose any of these, I would say I identify most with the haggis.
And while that is a shocking amount of haggises walking around the UK, the thing that surprised me the most was that the word Brit being offensive was polling at only 2%. So I was actually expecting more people to say that it was offensive.
Yeah, more people to be like, you can't say Brit unless you're an actual Brit.
Yeah, because we do get that comment semi-frequently in our comment section. But
interestingly enough,
they didn't show up in the polls.
Also, what is the plural of haggis? Is it haggai? Or
haggai.
haggises?
Haggises or haggai or hag.
Personally, I identify as a hag.
So should the word Brit be offensive? This poll as Exhibit A says no.
It should not be.
It should not be.
Well, that was an easy video to make.
There we go. Next week on Wandering Ravens. No, just kidding. There's a lot more here.
There's more.
Yes, because people didn't only vote in the poll, they also left very insightful and educational comments underneath the poll. So we're gonna go through and read some of the top answers that were left under this poll, and we're gonna wrestle with this question. Is the word Brit offensive? Should it be offensive? And
by the end of the episode, we might have the answer for you guys.
yeah, hopefully. Let's get into it.
As well as being technically correct, it's far less likely to rile than calling everyone English, the same way you don't assume everyone is from London. The only UK citizens likely to really reject the term are Northern Irish Republicans. British is the common nationality, except in the opinion of separatist nationalists, including English nationalists, who are weird and overly similar to white nationalists.
Okay, so a lot of good information there. I think a common mistake, which Patrick references here, is the tendency for Americans to call British people English. Because most Americans, I don't think they understand the distinction. They think UK, British, and English are all synonyms.
Yes, definitely. Yeah, they definitely do think that.
Myself included, I did not actually really understand the distinction between Welsh, Irish, English, British, and all those terms until we actually went to the UK. So a moment of honesty there. It's not something a lot of Americans know, not because we're trying to be offensive, it's simply not something we're taught.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
There's not really any education about how that all works.
Yeah, so if an American comes up to you and is like, you're from the UK, you're English. It's not because they're trying to make a statement about the state of the UK and whether or not Northern Ireland should be part of the UK or not. They're completely speaking from ignorance.
It's entirely ignorance, no malice there. They're just stupid.
You called me stupid now?
Hey, I also didn't know.
Just make sure you don't use Britain and the UK as meaning the same thing, as weirdly, they are different. Great Britain is the island and is made up of England, Scotland, and Wales, but the UK is technically an abbreviation of the United Kingdom of Great Britain and Ireland, so it also includes Northern Ireland, I hope. this makes sense. Yes, this gets into the tension that we've felt where we're looking for a term to address all the United Kingdom peoples, including Northern Irish, English, Scottish, and Welsh, in one word. So I think maybe what she's saying is that Brit is okay to use as an endonym for anyone from the UK, including Northern Irish people, but just don't say Britain as a synonym for the UK. So Brit is okay, but Britain is the island specifically.
The terms Britain and the UK are two that I have gotten mixed up frequently. As I was learning about that whole system, those two are very easily mixed up in my mind, or have been. Brit is fine. I'd say we identify as British and call our country Britain far more than using the term UK. Oh, interesting, because I feel like Americans use the term UK way more than they do Britain.
Yeah.
It's only when we talk more politically that we call it the UK. Obviously, those in Northern Ireland will call it the UK. Just never call a Scotsman English or you may receive a Glasgow kiss. And you don't want one of those. What is a Glasgow kiss? Oh, just like a punch?
Yeah.
Oh, that's a fancy name. But I would never call a Scottish person English.
Well, that was what we were just talking about earlier about how Americans tend to call anyone from the UK.
I think
Although this gets into another issue, which is that you're right, because most Americans don't know that Scotland is part of the UK. Yeah.
They wouldn't know that.
Yeah.
They think that Wales is, though.
Yes.
It's weird, because they think England and Wales, yes, but then they think Scotland, no.
No. I think that's because Scotland in our popular culture is always referred to as a separate country.
Yeah.
So I think Braveheart,
Yeah.
all that sort of stuff. Americans think of Scotland as its own entity, whereas Wales and Northern Ireland don't have as much representation in US popular culture.
This is the way I think that a lot of Americans think of it. Okay, so they think Scotland's its own thing. They think Ireland is all just one giant thing. I don't think that they know Northern Ireland is its own separate thing.
Yeah, unless they grew up during the Troubles, or, our older generation obviously knows.
Yeah, because they would have heard about it on the news and stuff like that.
But our generation...
I don't think they have as much education about, Northern Ireland and all of that. So they think Scotland's its own thing, England, and then all information about Wales is just kind of absorbed. Like nobody knows anything. Nobody hears anything about that in the States.
Oh man, this video is making us look so bad. So brutal honesty about, use me as an example of an ignorant American, I guess. But when we went to the UK for the first time, I was under the impression that Wales was more of a county than an actual country. In retrospect, I do remember learning about some of those wars in history, but it's very briefly covered, and then after that history class about the wars, medieval wars between Wales and England, there's not really any other reference to
Especially not modern day. Like there's not really any representation about it in media or in modern history.
No.
Not like, this is how Wales is currently.
Anyways, back to Brit. Is Brit offensive? That's the real question here. I think Brit is roughly equivalent to Yank. It's a term each side uses for the other in a usually non-offensive manner, but actually can offend depending on where each side is from within their nation. Yank refers to all Americans when used by Brits, but Americans in the South would think you mean Yankee, which they would call Americans from the northern states. This is similar to how Scots and the Welsh may be offended by the term Brit. However, both Yank and Brit are commonly used in a derisive context. For example, those Yanks never have a lighter when you need one, or those whiny Brits love to complain about American English. Great observations, Chanchito. Thank you so much for sharing your insight. I feel like I learned a lot reading this comment, and I think you're on the money here with how Brit is roughly equivalent to Yank. So I think most Americans, except for like in those examples, the derisive contexts that you mentioned at the end, which you're usually able to tell if someone's being derisive or not. Besides those few times, most of the time when Americans like us are using the word Brit, it's because we honestly believe it to be the proper endonym for you guys. Similar to how when you guys use Yank, it's short for American, but it applies to everyone. And you don't mean anything offensive by it. I remember the first time we were called Yank in England, and it kind of took both of us by surprise. Because we had never heard that phrase used in that way before. We'd seen it in movies, we'd heard that British people call Americans Yanks, but then hearing it was like, and we both looked at each other and
we were like, what? They said it!
They said it! They called us Yanks! We were so excited about it. The story behind this is funny because we were staying with some friends, and when we arrived, our friend was giving us a tour of the town, and he saw a friend of his inside of a cafe, and he went up and he banged on the window, and he said, "Hey, look, the Yanks are here!"
The Yanks have arrived! And we're like, yeah, that's us!
We the Yanks, boy!
We've arrived! I was actually surprised because I hadn't actually heard it in a non-offensive usage before that.
Oh,
like I'd only heard it within the States, you know, Southern people talking about Northern people, and we're both from the North, and so that'd be kind of like a, you know, an insult at us of sorts. Not really sure why though. It's like, yeah, we were on the good side and the...
Well, we weren't even a state.
Yeah, no, we weren't even the state, but...
We weren't around yet.
Technically, we are from the North, though!
Yeah. The South tends to use the full term Yankee. I myself, when living in the South, I was called stupid Yankee, damned Yankee. It was, people got very offensive with the term Yankee. My family lived in Texas for a while, and living there was the first time I had ever felt disliked. And it was not a good feeling. Because everyone just looks at you like...
Like, oh,
Yankee.
You're from one of those northern states that like freedom. Gags me with the spoon.
Yeah. You think I'm stupid, just these people. No. Look, I can piss on them because they called me a stupid Yankee. They swung first. And I was only 8 years old.
Who calls an 8-year-old a stupid Yankee?
Of course, not everyone in the South is as insular and stupid. But, you know, there are pockets. There are pockets. Well, there we go. We got a little bit more controversial than I was expecting to get there. But you never know what'll happen when you start watching one of our videos. That's where it went.
That's true. I'm Jockanese, so ticked the haggis option. Oh man, I hope I said that right. Jockanese? Is that
Interesting.
correct?
So Jockanese, I'm guessing, because he said he ticked haggis, must be a region in Scotland? If you know what Jockanese means, do let us know down below, because that is a term we have not encountered before. Yep, I'm Scottish, before British, so you can guess which one I ticked. Aha!
Another haggis walking around!
But please never call us Scots English. You got it, sir.
We will not do that.
We will not do that. But it sounds like he's okay with Brit as a collective term.
Yeah. We are all British. We're inhabitants of the British Isles. I don't see anything offensive in that at all.
Brit is perfectly fine. It's an inclusion word which can be used by all from in or outside the UK, regardless of politics or nationality. It's without divisive intent and can't be misinterpreted, which is exactly what you want in abbreviation for a group of people.
I honestly don't see why British is offensive. You can be two things at the same time, just like you can be both Texan and American. On the other hand, the internet has taught me that there's always a group of people who are extremely upset about pretty much anything, and will ensure that you are told off in the most strongly worded terms possible. Personally, I'm more interested in what comes next after the "Are you British?" or similar.
So maybe if they follow up with, you know, oh, you're British, so are you English, Welsh, kind of like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. And he has a good point there about being two things at the same time, because that really explains the way that that position that we're coming from, the way we understood it to be, which is that saying someone is British is like saying state and country in the States. So we're Washingtonians, but we're also Americans, and someone is English but also British.
That does make a lot more sense because we have the ability to think in multiple steps, like steps of identity and whatnot. As Americans, we have at least two. We usually have, because you have state and then you also have country, but then you also have where your ancestors came from, which is a big part of that as well.
And some people are very patriotic to their city specifically as well.
Yeah, that's true. Go Seahawks!
Call us anything you like. Well, I do like digestives. Digestives!
From here on out, this channel will only call British people digestives.
My friendly digestives, how are you all doing today?
What's up, you beautiful digestives?
You're looking particularly digestive this morning.
I don't like being called a Brit because I'm Scottish, and American people tend to assume that we are all English and forget about the other countries. It's not offensive though.
Okay, so that's one of the first contrarian opinions
that we've got.
But she did say that it's not offensive, so that's good.
Yeah, that is good to know. I think we kind of touched on the reason earlier. It's just that Americans don't realize that Scotland is part of the UK, I don't think.
Yes.
In many cases. Or they don't really equate those two. Like, they would say Brits to encapsulate some people, and then if you were Scottish, they would probably just say Scottish because, yeah, Scotland is its own separate entity.
And then if you were Northern Irish, they would just call you Irish. So in conclusion, I think what we're gonna walk away from this with is that using the word Brit is not offensive. Overall, it seems to be what the votes on the poll told us, as well as most of the comments, said that calling British people Brits
is not seen as offensive.
Although, one caveat to that would be that as much as possible, we would only call people Brit if we don't know their specific country of origin. Then, if we do know their country of origin, we would refer to them as Scottish or English or Welsh, you know, like that.
Unless, of course, they prefer to be called Brit, which I have met people from many different places in the UK who identify as British very strongly.
So for viewers of our channel, please know that when we use the word Brit, it's not because we're trying to be offensive. It is simply a great endonym for us to use when referring to the collective peoples of the UK. Because it's really, I don't really know what else we would use, too. There's not really a lot of alternatives. Any alternatives, actually. So, for us, the word Brit is just a way to address everyone from Northern Ireland, Scotland, Wales, and England. As always, now it is your turn. Do let us know, do you agree with the comments that we featured in this video, or do you disagree? Do you think Brit should be offensive? Or is it a safe endonym to use to refer to the collective peoples of the UK? Share your thoughts down in the comments. Hey guys, just gonna interrupt your video real quick and read you some of the top comments from our last video, which was the patriotic American adverts versus patriotic UK adverts. You guys had a lot of really insightful things to say, and yes, I did get a haircut between when we shot this video and when we're shooting this one right now. Thank you for asking.
First off, we noticed that a lot of commenters verified my observation made in the video about Brits getting patriotic about sports. Brits are allowed to show amplified levels of patriotism in regards to sports.
Yeah, as demonstrated in all of the American adverts, Americans tend to get patriotic about everything.
Yeah.
But it seems that British people are very proud to be British, but it's only kosher to display that patriotism in an overt way when it comes to things like sports. And here are some comments as examples of how you guys verified this for us. So the first one comes from Darren Fry, who says, as a rule, the British are only patriotic when sports or our history are involved.
And the next comment from Ryan Flannery. Ryan says, Brits are happy to be patriotic when there's a reason for it. We usually need an event like sports or something to do with the royals, whereas it's perceived that Americans will just start chanting USA because it's Tuesday. That is true. We do it every Tuesday.
Every Tuesday, we come outside and we all chant USA.
On our porches with our hands on our hearts.
And everyone raises their flags.
Yeah.
We all have flagpoles in our front yards, in case you guys didn't know that. And then we all shoot off a gun salute.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For real.
Believe us. We also got a lot of comments from Brits expressing distaste for the overt levels of patriotism in American ads. For example, this comment from Mark says, sorry but felt embarrassed by the US Jack Daniels ad. Bad taste to be so boastful. Thank you so much for the feedback, Mark, and everyone else who commented this same sentiments. And this brings up a really good point. This is a great example of one of those ways in which we, the United States and the UK, are two cultures separated by a common language, as the saying goes. Obviously, what sells in the United States does not sell in the UK. So these ads, like the Jack Daniels ad, wouldn't be considered boastful in the United States. There, it would be proud and patriotic. So my question for you guys is this: what would be the UK's version of American patriotism? For example, patriotism is what marketers manipulate to get us to buy products. But for you guys, what do your British marketers manipulate in order to get you to buy products?
I have a feeling it's humor.
Probably. You guys let us know down below. And thank you so much for all the great insightful comments. As always, our favorite part of the entire video making process is reading what you guys have to say and learning from you down in the comment sections. So we can't wait to see what you have to say about today's video.
And if you enjoy our videos and want to help us make better content more often, as well as receive a bunch of fun perks, access to bloopers, behind the scenes footage, And we've even thrown a couple vlogs up on there.
Yeah.
Then go and join our Patreon, link in the description below.
Again, I'm Eric.
And I'm Grace.
We're the Wandering Ravens.
And we have a personal goal of hitting 15,000 subscribers on this channel by the time June rolls around, so if you want to help us meet that, make sure you subscribe!
And tick the notification bell so that you get notified every time we release new British culture content. We will see you guys in the next video. Bisous!